I want to start by conveying, as a mom and a citizen of Alberta, my heartfelt concerns for all Albertans in southern Alberta right now and what they've gone through in the past 24 hours. I think it's really difficult to put it into words. I know that I've certainly spoken to a lot of my friends and family that have been impacted, and I'm sure that many people who are watching this have had the same experience, and probably people in this room. We certainly all as a community need to pull together and understand that while each of us are going through our own unique experiences, that we can acknowledge that we all feel the pain and the anxiety and the concern for the people who are most directly hit by this, but for the people that we love and care about and the communities across this province that are impacted by this absolutely tragic situation. To watch this unfold over the past 24 hours and to see the work that our first responders have done and the integration that's taken place in Calgary, in communities right across southern Alberta, from Canmore to High River, to Medicine Hat, to Lethbridge, to Turner Valley, has just been overwhelming, and it does speak to who we are as Albertans. The resiliency and the integration between our police, our firefighters, provincial government, municipal government, it's incredibly compelling. I was at a Western Premiers Conference last week, and one of the things we talked about was disaster relief and plans for unfortunate circumstances. And on that day, our case example was actually the Manitoba floods. They did say that the models that we had in Alberta were models to replicate across the country, and I'm very, very proud of the work that people have put into this. This morning I had an opportunity to see the City Police Operations Center, to see, of course, our operations center here, to go to a church to see an evacuation center, and to see the volunteers across this community and across this province who are putting in hours and getting very little sleep. It really does speak to how resilient we are. I had an opportunity this morning to speak to the Prime Minister, who of course is very concerned, and we were talking about very specific parts of the city and the province that have been impacted, because he of course has been watching this in real time on social media along with Mrs. Harper, and he has offered of course to work closely with us and to provide all possible support. I've spoken, as I said, to mayors in affected municipalities, and of course Minister Griffiths and Minister Horn, who are responsible for health and for emergency management, have been on the job since this began. Everyone has been on the job, and it's really important that we acknowledge the fact that there are first responders who are asking our communities to take steps to evacuate where possible and necessary, and to know that when that is asked, that people really must leave. Although it's a very difficult thing to do. It makes it easier for all of community to deal with this. But truly, I want to thank volunteers, first responders who are working in our community halls and our churches across the province. They're doing an incredible job on the ground to ensure that people are safe. We will also ensure that property is safe, and I promise you that as a provincial government, we will continue to be there in the long term. There is no doubt that infrastructure is being impacted, that people's homes are being impacted, and the Alberta Emergency Management Agency is fully engaged in coordinating the work of government actions to support local communities and local decision making. We're working closely with communities that are already impacted, as well as those downstream in southern Alberta that anticipate being impacted. Right now, we're focused on emergency response, but in the days to come, those efforts will work towards supporting the rebuilding of our communities. We don't yet know the full scale of what is happening. We know that it's evolving as we go, and Minister Griffiths will speak to that in a moment. There are certainly communities downstream of Calgary that have not yet felt the full force of these floods. But our government is ready to provide the financial support that's needed. And as tragic as it is to see the streets of so many communities empty of people and full of water, and to think of the thousands of people who've been displaced, it's incredible how we come together in times like this. There are pictures of people being rescued on combines. There are volunteers who are putting in long hours right across the province. We saw this in Fort McMurray last week as well. This is who we are as Albertans. We're resilient, we're strong, we come together, and we certainly come together when times are tough. And I want to encourage everyone to continue to follow the public safety orders of the municipalities and law enforcement, and to thank you all so much for providing the information that people need. I was at CPS headquarters this morning and saw 100 Edmonton police officers that have come down to be part of this partnership. I've certainly spoken, as I said, to the Prime Minister. We know that Canadian forces are engaged where they need to be, and Minister Griffiths will speak more to that. Our healthcare system is in good shape. We continue to have hospitals that are dealing with people that need that support. And Minister Horn will speak to continuing care and long-term care, because of course there are large and small communities across southern Alberta that are impacted by this. So we are here for the long haul. We know that we're not through this yet, but we will continue to do everything that we need to do to ensure that Albertans are safe. And now I'll turn it over to Minister Griffiths. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First, I think it bears repeating that we need to thank and extend appreciation to all the emergency services across the province, from community to community, our paramedics, our police, our fire, those that have come from other jurisdictions to help. It's a testament to the incredible commitment and the skill that we have on the ground, that there have been, to our understanding so far, no deaths, no injuries, and that people's lives are still being very well protected, and as much as we possibly can at any moment, protecting people's property as well. I do have a couple of particular updates. As the Premier mentioned, as far as downstream, we continue to monitor and assess the rain levels and the river levels. It's a fluid situation, no pun intended with the water, but it's a very fluid situation, and so we continue to evaluate it and work with the municipalities downstream to make sure that they're as prepared as possible for whatever may come. I know that some of them, Red Deer, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, to name a few, have declared states of local emergency. Though they're not in a crisis situation yet, it's about preparing to make sure that they handle what may be coming downstream at them. As far as the upstream situation, here in Calgary and in communities like Canmore and High River and Kananaskis, I had mentioned last night, with the Provincial Operations Centre, we have representation from every single ministry and every single department. We also have representation from the federal government in the form of the Department of Defence that's there to help us monitor and assess the situation. And last night they had offered whatever resources we felt that we needed. I mentioned last night we're going to take them up on that in some very specific situations, and I know Minister Horn may speak to it in more detail, but we had a diesel pumper that was needed, which was we were incapable of lifting. It's a very heavy piece of equipment, and the military afforded one of their heavy lift helicopters to help us move it and put it into location. They've also offered Zodiacs and any other search and rescue type material that we might need, which has been exceptional. They have moved 150 personnel, which is the smallest operating unit, to Red Deer, and they are staging to go to High River, to Kananaskis, and to Canmore to help. They're bringing some engineering staff to help make sure we can properly evaluate the situation, which is exceptional. It demonstrates just how coordinated our management strategy is between all three levels of government and all departments within the provincial government. It's exceptional work, and I'm very proud of the help that's been offered. You know, we've also had MLAs and MPs and cabinet ministers federally and from other jurisdictions also call and offer assistance. It is a testament to how Canadians come together when there's a challenge.
And the Calgary Stampede Volunteer Corps,
yes.
Actually.
Yeah, the Calgary Stampede Volunteer Corps, they put out a call for volunteers, and it was incredible the response they got, helping at the, and I know Mayor Nenshi will talk about it more, helping at the centers where they were taking displaced people. I also want you to know we are very keenly aware that right now we're managing a crisis situation, but we are also planning for the future already. Led by my deputy, we have already taken the Assistant Deputy Committee that was set up for Slave Lake that had been operating since the Slave Lake fires, recalled it It never actually got disbanded. Called them back to take the blueprint that we use for Slave Lake, because we know that as soon as the water subsides, it's time to clean up the debris and then start to rebuild. And we need to do that as quickly as possible and get moving. So they were meeting at 10 o'clock this morning, and we're going to start now taking swift action to be prepared once the water subside. I don't believe I have any more technical information or answered, but I'll provide you any technical details on any situation they may have available. But please remember, this is a very fluid situation and things shift consistently. And we're going to continue to monitor and be there when Albertans need us.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin by echoing our thanks, this time in particular to healthcare workers across the province who have been working around the clock to manage the situation, whether you work in a hospital or a care facility, you might be an EMS worker, or you might work in the community. All hands have been on deck throughout our healthcare system since this event began. I'd also like to again this morning to reassure Albertans that our healthcare system is operating normally. All patients and residents in facilities and all staff in facilities are safe and secure. We do have a number of facilities that are affected across the province, and later on I can provide some of that technical information if it's needed. But all of our facilities are operational and everyone is safe and secure. Information is available to the public through the Alberta Health Services website. That's albertahealthservices.ca. That is your best source of information about particular facilities across the province. HealthLink is also set up. The telephone number is in the front of your phone book or available easily through the Alberta Health Services website if you want to speak live to someone, if you have a question, perhaps about a family member who's either a patient or a staff member in AHS. So that resource is available as well. We have established an emergency operations center for the healthcare system, and that the work there is closely coordinated with the Provincial Operations Center and the center here in the city of Calgary. So we are working together, and as Minister Griffiths said, we're very fortunate in the province to have the people that we do behind this. When it comes to healthcare, as in all other parts of public services, people plan for this, they train for this, and now they are implementing very well-developed plans. The other thing I would just like to mention is that if you are an Alberta Health Services worker or a Care West worker or a healthcare worker with other employers within the city of Calgary, you can get to work. There are a number of evacuated neighborhoods in the city where police are controlling access, but you can provide your credentials as a healthcare worker at that point, and you will be allowed through anywhere in the city of Calgary for that matter. We do ask you, if you're able to come to work, our ability to turn over relief staff in healthcare is important, and as I say, all you have to do is provide your identification, and the Deputy Chief of Police here has made it possible for you to move freely throughout the city. So I think I'll leave it there. Again, to remind people, albertahealthservices.ca is where you go to find information about particular facilities, or call HealthLink. Thank you.